Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Kizer Justice. Before I go any further, I want to stop and thank you guys for tuning in and watching this episode. If you like what you see, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and follow along for more good content soon to come. Now, let's get into the overall specs of this knife. We have an overall length of 8.75 inches, blade length at 3.75 inches, cutting edge at 3.875, blade width at 1.125, blade thickness at 0.13, blade material being N690 for Kizer's budget line, we'll call it. N690 is an absolute fantastic steel to go with. I love that. Blade style being drop point with a flat grind, a nice satin finish. This blade here is running on bearings. We have a handle length of 4.875 inches, handle width at 1 inch, handle thickness right at 0.5, half of an inch. Handle material being G10, and we have a tip-up right or left-hand carry. Weight at 5.11 ounces, and a total price of $69. Giggity. No, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go with a Quagmire reference there or a Rob Gronkowski reference. I kind of figured more people would catch the Quagmire giggity, so we went there. Now, let's do some size comps. Take a look at this. This is a beefy knife, guys. This is pretty big. I shouldn't say super beefy, but overall, it is a very good size knife. Let's see here. Let's take a look with the TRM Atom. And we will also throw in the ZT0562CF for size comparisons. As you can see, definitely a little longer, a little bigger than both of those knives. Let's throw a couple more over here. Throw in a couple tanks. The Cold Steel AD10 and the Microtech SOCOM Elite. If it wants to stand up, there we go. So as you can see, again, kind of right on par with these guys, outside of the AD10 being a tank. It's kind of weird. The AD10 has a shorter blade length and just still kind of, I don't want to say towers over it, but a considerably bigger knife. Just a bruiser of a knife, that AD10. It's why I love it. And one more round of size comparisons with couple of my favorite customs, well, not custom scales, I guess. The Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Shaman. So, as you can see, it's coming in pretty much along those lines. Still has a considerable amount of cutting length, which is what I really like. For a knife, not that it's a small knife, but for the length of it, it still packs a really nice long cutting edge. Very good blade to handle ratio. I like that a lot. Let's get a little more into this blade. I just really love this blade shape. I really like it. It's simple. Maybe it shouldn't even be as attractive as it is, but it really kind of reminds me of a Sebenza blade. Call me crazy, but it's very simple, and I think even in person you would see it a little more. I think the point of the knife drops down a little more on this blade than the Sebenza, but still, definitely reminds me of the Sebenza. And guys, when I say that, I need to say this right now. By no means do I think that Kizer is trying to, make a, mock or make something similar to a Sebenza, but it's just what it reminds me of. When there's so many manufacturers and so many people out there making knives, you're bound to see some similarities from knife to knife. So by no means is that a assumption or any dig. I just think it's a beautiful blade and it reminds me of a Sebenza. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. And while I'm on there, the flipper tab also kind of reminds me of the Sharp by Design Evo Typhoon. You know how that kind of sticks out a little more like that? It doesn't have quite the same lines as that flipper tab, but it kind of reminds me of that. It sticks out. It makes for a really nice protective, I guess, completes the choil, so it really keeps your hand from sliding up and cutting yourself. Really nice. I really like the way they did that. They made it big and pronounced, but they didn't make it an eyesore. it really goes with the knife very well. So I really, really appreciate that. It looks really good. And most importantly are the deployment options on this knife. You have a flipper tab that has nice jimping, but I tell you what, the action on this guy, you don't need great jimping, even though it does have it. It has thumb studs, dual thumb studs. Always love multiple deployment options on a blade. We'll talk more on the action here in a second, but I wanted to point out how much I really like the thumb studs and flipper tab, and both of them being just as good in the action and reliability of deployment as the other. So definitely like that a lot. And overall, it's just a really nice big EDC blade. It's just done well. It's not it's nothing new, but at the same time, it is just very well done. I like the grind. I like where the grind comes up along the blade. It doesn't go too far up or all the way up or too far down. They didn't make it look weird. They just made it look very timeless, very classic, and I like that. Handle and ergos. The ergos on this guy are actually really good. Surprise, I mean, shouldn't be a surprise. It's a nice size knife. It's got, again, a pretty traditional outline for a handle. So nothing too different there, but I really like the G10 color and the texture design on it. It's got a nice grippy texture, and I even kind of like these lines. Usually I'm not a big fan of these kind of lines milled into a scale. I would prefer to just have the texture, but they didn't do too much with it. They didn't get too crazy or swirly or crisscrossy or anything dumb like that. They kept it pretty simple, and it works. I think it works pretty well, actually. The glass breaker on the handle, I could do without. As you can see, it does have a glass breaker. I don't dislike it. I just don't really care about it. It is removable. As you can see in that little hole there, there's threads. You can unscrew this and take it off. Now, with that being said, I'm not going to unscrew it and take it off because then there's just another hole at the bottom of the knife. And like I said, I can do with or without it. It doesn't bother me. I'm not crazy about it, but I don't hate it. So I'm just going to leave it there. Who knows? Maybe sometime I'll have the opportunity to test this out. I've always wanted to use a glass breaker. Never have, so maybe I'll do it on this guy. Who knows? But either way, that's there. Absolutely no hot spot with the pocket clip. Now, there's something I really don't like about this pocket clip, but before I get to that, I really, really like the fact that I don't feel that thing at all. The ramp is mild enough to where it doesn't dig into my palm. It's long and flat enough to where it really just, it just sits in my hand. And it just feels like a little bit of an elevated scale, I guess, but no hot spot whatsoever, so I really like that. What I don't like, and I think this is just a result of Kizer trying to do a little too much, and I'm not gonna nail him too hard, but this blue line here on the clip, not good. Because for one, as you can see up here at the tip, it just kind of stops. It's like it's squared. I don't think, maybe you can see it there. Yeah, there it is. It's just a square and it ends. It's a strip that ends. If it would have finished all the way to the end of the tab, all the way to the ended round part, and it would have been even all the way from side to side, I guess I wouldn't have a huge yank with it, but it's uneven up here. It doesn't finish down there. And to top it off, as you look up here, you can see where it ends. Yeah, right there. So it in all honesty, it makes the clip just look super cheap. And it's a nice clip. It shouldn't it's kind of doing an injustice to the clip and the knife overall by putting that there. I just think that doesn't look good at all. When I'm done with this video, I'm going to do my best with a Dremel and try and just buff this out and just have it look like a normal, fine clip, which is the way it probably should have been to begin with. Like I said, I guess I can't really knock Kizer too hard. They're just trying to stand out, trying to do something a little different, and they just did a really bad job of executing that. Like I said, I really like the pocket clip. I just really hate that line. It really gives it a bad look. It's a bad touch that just wasn't done well. But again, that's on the bright side, that's one of the few negatives of this knife, because the rest about this knife is very positive. And that being the action. This action, the detent is dialed in fantastic. It is pretty much drop shutty. The tab works fantastic. You have to purposely try to break this detent without it coming out. I mean, see, I tried to do it there and it still came out. I have to not talk when I do it. There. That's only like the second time I've done it, and that was on purpose. But any other time, you just light switch it. You can really, flip it out and it comes out pretty hard, or you can just give it the normal light switch and it comes right out. And then on top of that, you have a thumb stud that works just as good. The action on this with the thumb stud kind of reminds me of the CJRB Centros, as well as the CJRB Feldspar. So good, very good company to be in there when it comes to action with the thumb stud, but it flies right out. And the detent on this is dialed in and soft enough to where you can also thumb flip it, or middle finger flip it, excuse me. It's a little, you got to be a good middle finger flipper, I will say that, but it works very well, and you're flipping out a big blade there, and it's just fun to do. You can do it, whoop, just very, pretty buttery, I will say. But no, all together, the action is very buttery, very smooth, drops right down. I have not disassembled this guy or cleaned it yet either, so it's only going to get better. I'm a really big fan of this knife. I gotta say, I like the look of it when it came out, but I wasn't sure, a knife like this that is, let me wipe off the blade, with the very nice Kizer cloth that it comes with. I wish every knife company would send a cloth with their knife. It's a cheap add-in, but it really goes a long way because you actually use it all the time. So you gotta like something you're actually gonna use and not just some coin or something that you probably won't carry. But where was I at? Oh, the action, yeah. It's just really good. It separates this knife from a lot of other bigger knives that are just big knives. Like I said, just a nice, clean design. Really like this flipper tab. I don't care that it sticks out. I mean, yeah, you can call it a pocket pecker. I don't really care. I'm not someone who carries a lot of stuff in my pocket. Usually I carry a wallet in the back pocket. If I have change or something, I'll put them in my front pockets. But the flipper tab is never something that really bothers me. So you can call it a pocket pecker if you want, but I would kind of argue that it's not as big of a deal as people make it out to be. But yeah, that's it, guys. The Kizer Justice, very solid addition to the Kizer lineup. I like this considerably more than the Beg Lighter and some of their other Vanguard models. Is the Kizer Vanguard, is that even still a thing? Do they still name it the Vanguard line? Because I don't think I noticed that with this. It just said Kizer Justice. And like I said, these are relatively new, actually very new. I think they came out last week. So they're on Blade HQ for sure. I haven't looked a whole lot of other places, but they're out there, guys. If you like bigger knives and you like good, crisp, buttery action, you're going to like this knife. Very nice. I definitely recommend it. One of the better knives that's going to be released this year in the $69 or $70 or less category or area, whatever. Really nice, solid offering from Kizer. Kizer's been doing a really good job lately. So I think this is going to be a really good seller for them. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see next. Are there any knives coming out that you want to see a review of? Because if they're coming out soon, I could do my best to get one. I'm not really reviewing a lot of older knives. I like to stick to newer ones. Those are the ones that get people's attention, the ones people want to see. So let me know, what do you want to see on the table next? But for today, that was Kizer Justice. Thank you guys for tuning in. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.